Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World, brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Please be sure to visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. It costs you nothing, and they are experts at, like I said, helping you plan the perfect vacation. So get on over there, plan a vacation. I am your host, Ryan O'Clavin, and in this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the best moments from attractions at Walt Disney World. And to help me have this conversation, we have Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
Jackie Gailey.
Hi, guys.
And Craig Williams.
Ahoy, hoy.
So this topic was actually recommended by somebody on Twitter. I forgot to look it up before we started. I meant to scroll back and find it, but somebody suggested this as saying like what are our favorite moments from attractions, or what do we think are, like I said, the best moments from attractions. So I asked everyone to pick like one or two, and we're going to go through it. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be your favorite attraction, because I do have a moment that I love from an attraction, but the attraction overall isn't in my like top 5 list or anything like that. But I'm going to go first so you can all understand what I'm talking about. And for me, I think one of the best attraction moments that I have in recent memory, or in memory at all, is from Rise of the Resistance. And now the specific moment that I am referring to here is, and this will have spoilers for anybody who hasn't ridden anything, so I don't mean to ruin any surprises. So if you are trying to wait to ride these all yourself, maybe this isn't the video or the audio for you, so get out and let us chat about it. So in Rise of the Resistance, there's a fun... What we've spoken about on the show before and in our attraction review of this is that the attraction is more than just the physical sitting in a ride vehicle experiencing what happens. And it's not just a pre-show before that, too. It's this whole like experience that you go through. And there's a moment when you've gotten from the queue into like a ready room sort of an area, like a war room, where you're being relayed some information about the attraction. And then you go from there into a spaceship, into a cruiser, if you will, and a person, well, maybe not a person, brings you to, you have to leave the planet and get to a rebel base. And there is a moment when you get on this ship, when you're being transported and you get taken prisoner by the First Order. I think the moment when you step from that ship into the Star Destroyer where you've been taken prisoner is one of the most like take my breath away kind of moments in an attraction that I can even think of. Like it's something about so to ruin the surprise here. So again, if you haven't ridden it, this is a little bit of a spoiler here, is that the door you go into to get on the ship is the same door you go out of. And I still, like, the first time I rode it, I went in and then went to the door across the way. And so like when the door behind me that I had just walked through opened up, I was like, what? And you know, and like, there's just something incredible because you come from outside to this tiny, not completely claustrophobic, but a small room that then, you know, there's always been this thing about Star Wars with the aesthetic of like colors and lighting and everything. And so you are very much on this tiny, crammed rebel ship that then opens up into this like blue, airy room of a Star Destroyer that is just like to scale, and there are, you know, 100 stormtroopers right in front of you, and then a First Order person steps in, and like the air feels different, the vibe feels different. It completely changed. Like it literally has this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I've just been transported somewhere else. And I think there's just something really incredibly special and amazing about that moment. Not to mention there's some other great moments in the attraction, but I think about that kind of magic moment in this attraction that really, it still kind of gives me goosebumps when it happens, and I love seeing that moment for people when they go from place to place. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I would agree that the payoff of that moment is huge. Like you said, just the scale of it, the size and scope is so massive. And I'm there with you when you exit through the same door that you stepped onto the shuttle. Mind was blown. Like, yeah. Wait just a second. For me, I put Rise as well, but for me, it is the scene where you're on the gun deck and the massive cannons
Yeah.
are moving
Yeah.
in front of you, and your transport is trying to time getting past them. I mean, that attraction is filled with moments, with great moments, best moments. But for me, it was the gun deck that really.
I think that's another really, really great one
amazing.
too. You're right. Yeah.
Going back to Rhinos, one of the biggest selling points, I think, with that entire moment is it's not even just the visuals that you step onto and the details, like of how they made it work, that you go in and out of the exact same door. It is the First Order officer that greets you as you are coming at that, like steps onto the ship and immediately starts telling the story. Without that, you're in a very impressive room that is amazing, and the way you got there is cool. But that's to me, even more than when you're meeting the Resistance Forest, all the people who are in the Resistance, like they are great at what they're doing.
Yeah.
But something about that interaction with the First Order is where it's like, okay, this is next level.
What's interesting too about that part is I think about it where the Batu is, because it's in Florida or California, is just this really hot, like I think about it as being kind of like a Jakku type place. It's hot, it's sandy, it's like, it's in a forest, like Craig said. And then when the door opens and with what he said as well, that First Order officer comes in, like it's this gush of cold air, so like the atmosphere has literally and metaphorically changed completely. So it's just this cool, it's this beautiful moment where so much storytelling works together and stuff. So what about you, Denny? What do you think's one of the best moments in an attraction at Disney World?
Okay, so I'm going to Disney's Animal Kingdom and Expedition Everest. And while the moment that you go backwards is pretty cool, for me, the greatest moment for me on that attraction is just after seeing the Yeti, and you take that dip down the main hill on Everest, and your stomach is left back up top somewhere, and that is, for me, that's like the best on-ride photo. Like the placement of the camera there is just perfect to get you as you descend that hill. But that, and then the immediate bank to the left, I love it. So that's one of my favorite best moments for sure.
It's interesting. I had never. Did you ever get to ride? Did anybody ride this attraction when the Yeti actually functioned?
Yes. Yep.
I think I didn't ride this until I moved here. So I didn't ride it until, actually after I moved here, because I was too chicken to go on it. I think till 2008, and I think the Yeti had stopped working at that point, really. But I saw a video of it moving, and I just think in that, what a cool experience. Like you said, it's like the fear of the coaster, or the adrenaline of the coaster, combined with this, that's the culmination of the story of Everest, where this Yeti just kind of swings at you and you're like, what? And watching that video of it actually functioning before they put it into the mountain too, must have been something really special, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Craig?
The first one I'm going to choose, I think it's something that it's very simple, but it's one of those moments that is just it. I think for Disney fans in particular, it takes their breath away every single time, and that is the climax of Spaceship Earth, when you finally make it to the very top, and right after you're going through all of the sequence, and that's green up above your head, and then you get that grand reveal that you're in space and you're looking back at the Earth. But then it's a combination of the visuals and the music that's swelling in the background, but then also realizing I can see the curvature of the ceiling. you know that you're in Spaceship Earth the entire time. You're in the sphere, but then once you realize like how far you came, like it's something about it. It's just so simple. It's not. There's not this like. There's not the state of the art technology involved with it. It's basic projection, mixing with music, mixing with just the general atmosphere. But something about it every single time. It really takes my breath away. It's one of those just grand moments that I don't think can change as this attraction does change. It has to always be that pinnacle part of the attraction.
Well, you know what's interesting about that too, that you kind of you bring it up here, is that it's you know, you have the hill a little bit at the beginning when they take your photo when you get on Spaceship Earth, and then you're kind of up there, but you didn't feel like, okay, that was the climb to the top, because it wasn't, but it's like this kind of gradual, you've been going up the whole time, and it's like what you said, it's kind of interesting that you don't know how far up you've actually gotten. And what you said about being so aware that you're inside of the dome, I actually never, for me, that attraction is kind of like, am I really in this dome? It's impressive on a level where, like, the magic for me is just how much is going on inside of this dome. Like, I someday want to see somebody do some sort of like digital X-ray of it, where they can like do a what's it called when
like
they do the side cut? Yeah, a cross section of it, because I would really be fascinated to see how it kind of go. And I'm sure that exists, but I would just love to see kind of where you are at what parts in the attraction, because it is really something really special. But I do actually have another one too. I'd like to bring up, and this attraction is not one of my favorite attractions. I don't dislike the attraction, but I do think it has a really cool moment that is one of the like best moments I've seen in an attraction, and that is the newer one. So not a lot of people have been able to do it yet, which is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Hollywood Studios. I think the finale scene when you go into the factory, and Mickey kind of shuts it all down, and the whole scene collapses and reemerges as a new scene. At first you think like, oh, it's an interesting use of projection technology, but this is where I really thought this is next level classic dark ride, because it just somehow immediately transported us into this other scene. And we wrote it. I mean, Craig and I were fortunate enough to have gone to like the media event or the opening party, and so we got to ride it a bunch of times without having to wait in line. And I kept wanting to do it just for that part, so I could watch like a specific part, being like, how did the lamps, how did these things become lamps in the park? How did this become a merry-go-round? And it's something that even the videos I've watched back, it's something that when you see it all kind of happen at once, it's this amazing technological dance with storytelling that is just, it's like, wow, this is... I know it's a weird thing to compare it to, but it reminds me of the kids jumping in the chalk drawing in Mary Poppins. Like, you physically have jumped into this like magical scene or something. I've used the word magical a lot in this episode, but
magic is my favorite.
Well, Jackie, do you have a best moment at an attraction? What you think is one of the best moments? Go ahead, tell us your best moment.
So at Pirates of the Caribbean, when you are floating around to where the battleships are, and the ships are shooting cannons at each other, and you're over here looking to the left because I'm drawing a blank for his name. Barbosa is shouting all kinds of things at you, and so you're looking at him like, did you just say that to me? And all of a sudden, the water on your right explodes and gets you, and it kind of startles you. Mm-hmm. And then you're going around to the little town, and where they're hanging somebody in a well, and it's that spot right there. I just feel like you are so in the moment of every Pirates of the Caribbean film. You're just in there with the sounds and the sights and the sass talk, and
yeah,
I love that part right there. So
Yeah, I would agree. That got like a little honorable mention for me on my list for Magic Kingdom. Just when you go down the drop and then just the scene opens so wide in front of
Yeah.
you, just the magnificent scale of it is just, it fills you with a bit of wonder. Just to, like you said, what have I landed myself in the middle of?
Yeah.
There's a story being told here, and
Yeah.
that's just so much
It's
fun.
just such a cool, I just love it. Love it.
I love I love that scene specifically too, because you kind of, before that, it's like the same reasons why I love the scene in Rise of the Resistance, is that it's a claustrophobic like tunnel that you're in before you're that chute brings you down to that storytelling, and just like the fog on the water when the
Yeah.
ship is there and the cannons. And I got like grazed by an air cannon once, and I didn't even know that was possible. You just have to have the timing just right, I guess. But it's just one of those things where I do think it is a big moment where you know, it's that transportive feeling that Disney can give you, and
Yeah.
it's really
You
fascinating.
just feel like
So,
you're somewhere else completely. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Craig, did you have something else to say? You perked up.
Oh, I do have something else to say, and I'm actually staying in Epcot with my other choice. And my other one would have to be the final, again, a climax moment, but this time of Journey into Imagination with Figment. Because when you pull into that room and it looks like you're in this computer lab where it's just all dark, like the first time you do it, you don't know what's about to happen. You don't realize that there's going to be a giant blast and, you know, air hitting you and the noise compacted with it. Everything goes dark, and then it unveils this giant diorama of actually, you know, paying tribute to Figment. And I don't want to say that the rest of the ride doesn't do that, but it's very easy to get the concept from the rest of the ride that Figment is this annoying original character that no one asked for, really. And that comes from someone who's me, who loves Figment. You can see him right there in my Funko box behind. I love the character, but they don't do him justice in that attraction, in my opinion, until that final moment when it's just it showcases all of the magic that should be throughout the ride that you could also find in the original attraction. So it's one of those things, even if you do it 10 times, you still cannot prepare for that exact moment when everything just goes dark and the wind hits you and it lifts up. Like, it really does, like, say, whoa, this went from this ride being not worth anything to being pretty tolerable, actually. So I like that moment.
I did actually think of that moment when I was thinking of ones for myself, because I was like, I just don't like the ride so much, but I do admire that scene in the ride. That I do think it's cool. Just something about, you know, and I noticed that that's kind of what I love about all my scenes, is that there's something about that flip, that immediate flip, that that's something that I guess you can't really experience something like that in regular life. You're not going to transport through a story that way. So it's a really cool, it's just something special, you know? So, does anybody,
it's like
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's like a twist with some of these moments. They're like the twist in the movies that you see and love, but not every movie is good solely because it has a twist. Not every movie needs that.
Exactly.
Not every attraction needs that moment, but I think some of the ones that do stand out are the ones that leave you with that twist, and then you can't think of anything but like, well, I wonder how they did that, or what went into making that actually happen. And it's usually because it takes everything that's there and combines it together. A sense of a feeling, a sense of audio, the visuals, everything combined. So in Pirates, adding the smell in too. So it's just like, that's when you get these really great moments, when they make use of everything at their disposal.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's excellent storytelling and Imagineering, and it's one of those, you know, it's It's one of those things you brought up movies. I say the same thing with an animated movie. I like an animated movie that uses all those tools that it has. You know, you have endless things you can imagine, and like Disney brings that sort of imagination to life, which is really interesting, you know? So does anybody have another attraction? Denny, you have one more you want to say?
I have one. I do.
Okay.
And I'm going back to one that you've already mentioned. So it was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And when I am getting ready, when there's a new attraction, I don't like to watch all the videos in advance. I like to wait and experience it for myself. So I know y'all were making these amazing videos all that week at the media tours and events, and I was like ducking and covering so that I wasn't seeing. I didn't want to be spoiled. And Jackie and I had fast passes for opening day, and it happened by chance that because we had logged in individually, we got them, we met up, we wrote on it together. And for me, the moment that is the most, just the best moment in that attraction was the waterfall scene. So you're in a scene that you think you understand. It's kind of like what you were saying, Rhino. Like you rode into this one scene, and in a minute, in an instant, it changes completely. So we rode into this scene, and I was constantly turning around trying to take it all in, but and then immediately it takes a bank to the right, and you're completely encompassed in this scene all around you, and the water, and there's a waterfall out of nowhere.
And you're holding on because, oh my gosh.
For me, and you're holding on because you're going down a waterfall. But just how they fooled the eye and fooled the senses in that moment. And it just, it struck such delight and such joy in that instant. And it was so surprising. I thought it was one of the best moments that I've experienced attraction-wise.
I love it too because it has the octopus playing the saxophone when you're done.
Yes! He is very cute.
Well, there you have it. Those are some of our what we felt like are the best moments in attractions at Walt Disney World, and I'm sure we've missed some of yours. So if you want to let us know, please leave comments on this video if you're watching, and please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell; you'll get notified whenever we put up some content, which is quite frequently. Not that we weren't doing it frequently before, but it seems like even more so now. So if you don't want to miss out, subscribe, like us, all that stuff. If you are trying to plan your next trip down here, again, please head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. You can check that out. They'll get you started on your next Disney vacation, help you save some money in there if they can, in any way they can. And that will do it. We'll see you next time with another episode of the best and worst of Walt Disney World. Bye, everyone.